Today, we are talking about something that affects most everybody around here. Whether you own a home, you want to buy one, plan to invest, or just trying to figure out what's the heck is happening with prices in the area. For the first time in a long time, the Savannah market is starting to shift. Inventory is rising, homes are sitting longer, buyers are getting more negotiating power back, thank God, and some areas are changing way faster than others. So today we're breaking down what's happening nationally, what's happening right here in Savannah, and what areas like Pooler and Richmond Hill and Port Wentworth and Guyton are telling us about where the market could be heading next.
Welcome back to this episode of the Market Sip. My name is Patrick Donnan from eXp Realty, part of the Johnson Group, and I'm here with my boy Brandon Giebler from Next Move Real Estate. And I'm super excited about this episode, man. You know, the market, as it says in this, and we've said almost all the time, that it is hyper local. So you definitely want to be staying up with the stats that are local. And that's what we are doing right here. We're going to break it all down for you. But hey, Brandon, the other day I was kind of watching this show. Have you ever seen the show Alone before?
I have not seen it, but I know what it's about.
Okay, so in this show, if you've never seen it before, they drop you in the middle of Canada, nowhere in the woods. It's freezing cold, right? And whoever lasts the longest by themselves, I mean, it could go up to 100, 120 days by yourself. Nobody. You're fighting bears and moose, right? And then they win $500,000. And every time they're like, man, I'm going to buy a house with my winnings, right? So if they're going to come to the Savannah area and they're looking to buy a house, what should they do, Brandon?
Scan those codes.
Scan those codes. Are right above us. If you want to talk to Brandon or me, our QR codes are right above us. You can hit those codes. You can get right to us. Ask us any question you want. If you want to know how much your home is worth in the Savannah area, hit that code up. Hit it up. But Brandon, let me ask you, where do you see most of your buyers looking right now?
Most of my buyer activity right now is out in like the Rankin, kind of Springfield area. A lot of people, I guess, are one that the land's still, while it's kind of still available.
Right. Well, everything's
showing.
Well, I've been kind of lucky. It's been going all over the place. I mean, I've been Savannah, Richmond Hill. It's been all over the place. It's been great. But, you know, with the expansion going up 21 up north, so I can see why, it's starting to blow up out there. But I want to start with a poll real quick. And if you're not watching live, okay, you can still answer this poll in the comments down below. Okay, so let's put the poll up here. Okay, so let's start and show. Be honest. Okay, which Savannah area buyer are you right now? 1, I'm waiting for the rates to drop. Okay, 2, I check Zillow 14 times a day like a crazy person. 3, I'm ready to buy, but only if they pay for all the closing costs. Or 4, I'm ready to, wait a minute, what happened? I doubled up the questions. Okay, 3 and 4 are the same things.
Yeah.
So let's know which one you are. What kind of buyer are you? 1, 2, 3, 3 and 4.
Everyone's always a 3. The 3.
All right. So let's check out what's going on. Let's go check out what's going on today there, Brandon. I'm ready.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. I want to make sure that you guys know this is definitely not a doom and gloom kind of episode. This is more of the market is shifting, not a crashing kind of episode. And one thing we always try to do on this show is separate national fears, those headlines, those rage baiters, from what's actually happening locally, because Savannah doesn't move exactly like places like California and New York and Miami. Real estate, again, is hyper local, and today we're going to see that even within our own areas like Pooler and Richmond Hill and Port Wentworth, and they're all behaving differently. So let's see what's on the agenda for today.
All right, good stuff. So today we're going to be talking about, obviously, the national snapshot. What is going on in the country and the broader? Then we're going to go into how Savannah kind of fits into those numbers. I mean, stuff that happens across the country, like you say, it's hyper local, right?
Right.
It's not the same things that happen in Savannah. So we're going to be comparing that's going on out there to the local area in Savannah. Finally, we're going to dig deep into the specific submarkets like Pooler, Richmond Hill, Port Wentworth, and Guyton every area is behaving just a little bit different right now. So some markets are cooling faster than others, some are heating up. But the goal tonight is to kind of talk you guys through the numbers so you know what it actually means for buyers and sellers. So, Brandon, let's see what's going on nationally.
Yes, the national market is is cooling and it's normalizing. It's not collapsing. So get the collapse out of your head. This is we're gonna this is gonna be our key phrase for this one. It's gonna, marching in place. The market is just kind of marching in place right now. Buyers are cautious because of the rates, which they should start to feel a little bit like this is like kind of like the new norm right now. It's been that way for a little while, and the inventory is, I mean, it's climbing, which is changing the leverage. So homes are taking longer to sell and becoming more normal again. The price reductions are no longer rare; they're happening way more often than they were. So the panic frenzy kind of situation that we were in is now over, and nationally the market is basically just slowing down into like more normal rhythms than it should have been before COVID. The year after COVID, the houses were flying off the shelf in 3 days with 15 offers, and that's
Right.
just not normal real estate behavior. Now we're seeing more inventory, more days on market, more price reductions, and buyers actually taking their time. And honestly, that's healthier long term, in my opinion. The
Absolutely.
the important thing is prices are still up slightly year over year, but the speed of appreciation has slowed dramatically. So, and what's interesting is Savannah is actually seeing some of these shifts happen even faster than the national average. Crazy. So now that we've looked at the national level, let's look into Savannah.
I mean, I see 18% seeing price reductions right there. That is how you know the market is shifting, right?
Jeez.
18% price reductions. Think that about it. If you're on the market right now and you're a seller, look at that number. Keep that in mind. It's not a weird thing for prices that you have to drop your price. Now, if you price it right to begin with, well, then that might be a different story. But man, that 18%, that's shocking. All right. So I think the biggest takeaway locally is how much faster inventory is rising compared to the national market. Okay. So
Yeah.
Savannah's inventory growth is significantly outpacing the trends. You see the line there, the local number, that bar is way higher. You're talking about 5.8%, and Savannah's well over 20%. So it's creating more buyer friendly conditions. And days on the market increasing from 69 to 88 is a really important stat for buyers and sellers. Buyers are taking longer to make decisions now, like Brandon said, and we're seeing more negotiations come to the market, which is obviously a good thing. Sellers can't rely on homes just selling instant anymore. The market's become more balanced instead of heavily favoring sellers. So, I mean, here's a good thing. If you're a buyer, now it's time to negotiate. You have more options to compare instead of feeling rushed into decisions. So, and Pooler is probably one of the clearest examples of this shift happening quickly. Let's see what's going on in Pooler right now.
Yeah, Fuller is definitely shifting quickly towards the buyers having the leverage again. Oof. Which is not, it's nice. It's going to show more activity because the inventory has exploded upwards.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you could tell, and the builders are adding incentives again.
Uh
Buyers
oh.
buyers finally have options. Jesus Christ, thank you, Lord. So if you are planning to be a seller, you can't do the whole let's test the market anymore. It's just it's just not going to happen. You're going to sit. The 88 days is the test the market kind of people. So Pooler has is highly competitive during those booming years, obviously. So the market is correcting from the overheated conditions that COVID created for us. So I would say Pooler is one of the clearest examples locally of the market shifting. During the boom years, Pooler absolutely exploded with growth, and builders were throwing up neighborhoods everywhere. They
Yeah.
still are. They're just apartments now. But
And
home,
yeah.
yeah, it's awful. But homes are moving fast, and buyers. you know, were competing aggressively, but now they don't have to. Yet there's such an influx of inventory that the buyers suddenly have choices again. You don't have to go into these rage wars over this house and overpay. You can actually take your time. You have some leverage as a buyer now. Seller, well, you lost a little bit of leverage, but
I mean, they
it's
got all that gain
fine.
in equity though with all the inflation. I mean,
Right.
so I mean, I'm not feeling bad for sellers. I mean, if you got to take a little haircut at the end, man, all that profit has already been built in.
A little trim is healthy. Duh.
You got to keep getting dead ends out.
From the dead ends. We're seeing a lot of the builder incentives come back too with the rate buy downs, the closing cost assistance, the upgrade packages, things that we really haven't seen heavily in the past few years. So if you're selling in Pooler right now, pricing correctly out the gate matters way more than it did 2 years ago. Think about it. And then, Patrick, are you starting to notice more buyers slowing down and comparing multiple houses now instead of that panic buying that we first saw?
Oh man, dude, I'm actually I'm seeing for. I mean, I remember when it was frenzied. Like you'd meet somebody. 3 minutes later, you're writing a contract. 10 minutes later, you were in a bidding war,
Highest and
and
best.
then 6 hours later, somebody else had the house. So I mean, it's like now it's like I showed them a house last week. I showed them a house on Monday. I showed them 5 houses on Wednesday, and they're gonna go see another house today. So we got time, right? And that's a good thing. Like they're like, oh, I'm wasting your time, wasting. I'm like, you're not wasting my time.
Just
I can't
gas.
tell you how good it feels not to have to rush back to my office and pound out a contract or do it on my phone to make sure
Right.
we don't lose it. So this is a good
Right.
thing. Take
Yeah.
advantage of it. Take
Yeah.
advantage of the time. Look at the inventory change, 45%.
Right. So, uh,
Huge.
so
So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm excited though. So now that we saw Pooler, let's check in on Richmond Hill.
yeah, Richmond Hill. And like I said, before we go to Richmond Hill, just look at the inventory change. If you're a seller, that's your competition. Just think about that. That long big bar right there is your competition. So just think about that.
I'm looking at.
Okay. It's in Richmond Hill now continues to show a lot of resiliency compared to some of these surrounding markets. Okay. The median price is still up by 3%. Now it's been up in three of the markets that we show, and down in three of the markets we show. So it's kind of evening out. The inventory is actually down by 9% in Richmond Hill. So, and that tells us that demand is very strong there. I mean, you got the military people coming in right now. So that's probably a lot of the reason why there's a ton of interest in Richmond Hill right now. The school system continues to drive a lot of buyer demand there with the military. You got Richmond Hill feels more stable than some of the faster changing markets nearby. Even with overall market shifts happening, Richmond Hill remains one of the firmest submarkets in our area. Buyers are still competing for desirable homes there. But the thing is this, like you see the inventory's down, so of course less demand or less supply for the buyers in there. So I mean, the market still feels supply constraint compared to the other ones in the Savannah area. But now let's compare to what's the volatility going on in Port Wentworth.
Yeah, well, Port Wentworth is probably the most volatile local submarket that we have right now. Ugh. They got the biggest swings locally. The inventory is rising and the sales are falling. That's not good, Port Wentworth. Are you running people out, Patrick? What's happening?
I'm not trying to.
The
We're
buyers
trying to
are,
get rid of the data centers. I mean, hopefully they'll bring more people here.
but the data center can be part of the buyers that
Good
negotiation
point.
power.
I don't know. Could be. That's
There's
what I keep saying.
right, but there's that rapid development that's happening. It impacts the perception for the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
It's creating that volatile creates that opportunity and risk, and investors are actually watching pretty carefully right now because there's opportunities out there. Investors are always looking to make a deal.
On it. I know.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is the inventory is going way up here in Port Wentworth. Sales are slowing down and the prices are softening. Thank God. That means the market is trying to find its balance again. Let it find its balance. You can't just make it find its balance. So, buyers, you have the leverage again. So, get out in Port Wentworth and buy something. But honestly, I think that some of this comes from how fast the development has been happening in that area over the past several years. When areas grow rapidly like that, markets can swing harder in both directions. So if you're for investors, the volatility can create opportunities. Jump on the opportunities. But that also means that you need to be way more strategic than the people who have, than people had to be a few years ago. And this directly ties into the overall buyer and seller psychology right now because consumer behavior is changing dramatically. And yeah, so now that we've looked into Port Wentworth, we can jump over into Guyton.
Guyton,
Guyton.
the
All
pretty
right.
stepsister of
The
Savannah.
per-
Guyton is changing very quickly right now. Inventory is surging up by 51% of the biggest shift in the entire area. Days on market climbing from 72 days to 89 days, showing buyers are slowing down. Buyers are taking more time before making offers out in Guyton. And sellers are waiting longer to close deals. So, I mean, wow, days on market up to 89. Whoa. We're seeing the market normalize after several years of extreme aggressive activity, and
oh,
buyers are more leveraged now because they have more choices. I mean, just because Guyton's on the market, you got to remember there's good like replacements to Guyton right down the road,
right.
like Lincoln. Unless you just want to be in the middle of nowhere, well, then you can still go to Springfield or you can go to Clio. So, people are like, okay, so relax, guys, and then their days on market are rising. So the market's still active, but it's definitely less frantic than it used to be. So, I mean, I think every game is still growing, but the pace of the market is slowing into something more sustainable. So,
Right.
what does all of this mean for buyers and sellers' behavior overall, Brandon?
I mean, real estate is really there's a lot of psychology when it comes to real estate and buying a home. You got a lot of emotions and thoughts and whatnot going in your head, and it's now changing from buyers actually starting to feel better about the idea of buying a home, even though there's still people on the sidelines that are worried about rates and I'm going to wait for the perfect moment. But when you're a buyer in this market right now, you feel a bit better than you did a couple years ago. So now this is going from sellers feeling on top of the world to actually kind of feeling it a little bit.
The
And
pressure.
right, and buyers don't have to knee jerk jump on something and then possibly regret it in a couple months or a couple years because they just panic bought something because they had no time. So buyers actually get to be cautious now. They get to compare more homes. They don't got to just jump, which brings those negotiations back, which is actually nice to see. It's only a win-win when everyone feels like they got a little more than the other one. So it's
That's
nice,
unfortunately
nice
the truth, right?
right. And then homes that are overpriced or you know are homes that are more updated, I would say, and are priced right, they're still moving. So it's those stalemates are the ones who were testing the market. But houses are still selling, and some of them move pretty quickly. I put one up and it went under contract in 2 weeks. Lord, ooh, so surprised. But it's good. But obviously, we're getting this whole all this is coming from all this stagnant homes that are sitting on the market, which is good for buyers. So if you're a seller right now, you need to think strategy. It's not just put it up, test it, hope for the best. You need to have a strategy, which is what we do for a living. So make sure you scan those quotes. So you got to have an agent that has a good strategy for you that works for everybody. So this might actually be the most important slide tonight because this is the human side of the market.
Right.
This is the psychology, the buyer's behavior has completely changed, and people are no longer rushing into homes emotionally like they were a couple years ago. So you get to compare properties, you get to ask for concessions, you get to negotiate repairs, you get to negotiate closing costs, and you can take your time when it comes to making the decisions. But at the same time, is that is it really desirable homes, or is it still moving quickly? Or the desirable ones move quickly. So if
Oh yeah, if it's ready to go, it's a good location, it's ready, it's updated, painted, if it looks good, if it's priced right, those are going quick. You see these days on the market, going up, but that's only on the homes that are not prepared.
right,
Like that, if your house, you have to be honest with yourself. Okay. A lot of times we see our house and we don't think about, I don't see the mess that I see every day. Do you see what I'm saying? Does
yeah,
that make sense to you, Brandon?
yeah. You can't
If
you
you,
can't you can't check on the emotional tax
well,
when
I
it
mean, I
comes.
walk past the same table with the stuff on it all the time and it's cluttered. I don't see it because it's just a part of my life. But I think that's what I think a lot of sellers don't understand. When we say declutter your home, you have to you have to get someone else to get an eye and tell you, hey, look, you got to clear this stuff off the top of the refrigerator. 6,000 cereal boxes up there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking from my own experience back in the day, right? So, you have to be ready. And if they're ready, you're going to be good to go. I mean, because, here's the thing. And just to kind of wrap this whole thing up to what we were talking about in the beginning, like we had talked, and I think you've heard the theme through this whole thing is buyers, they've got the power now. Sellers, you need to be ready to compete. That was a different inventory, different times back then. You got to live in the now. Inventory is rising faster locally than it is nationally, as you saw, and that's like it's giving more buyers more chances, more opportunity to negotiate. It's shifting away from the stream sellers market that we knew a few years ago. You got to get out of that mindset. Okay, pricing discipline matters again. Marketing matters again. Local marketing knowledge matters more than ever now. Who is putting your stuff out there? If you're a seller, how is the marketing, right? How is it going? You mean you got 100 views on Zillow? I mean, any agent can put your home on Zillow. You know what I'm saying? That's free. Now, who is putting it on the market? Who is actually marketing it? That's the biggest deal when you are listing your home. Okay, so because every market operates differently. That's another thing. Having a strategy for Richmond Hill, it's holding stronger. Pooler and Guyton are shifting faster, and buyers are benefiting from the increase in inventory, while mortgage rates are still keeping people cautious. And if you didn't see the mortgage rates, look down below. 6.57 conventional, 6.02 FHA, 6.04 VA. That's of as today, May 14th. Okay, so went back up. It's just rebounding again. So now we're over the sixes again. Why, Brandon? Inflation, Iran, all this stuff. The investors are not feeling secure, so it's going to push those yields up, right? And it's causing mortgage rates to go up. Okay, so now we're normalizing. Now there's situations outside of real estate that are not normal, but the market itself is kind of normalizing. We're not crashing. I think a lot of buyers have been waiting for a crash, but here's the thing: we're not crashing. We're just getting ready. The market hasn't stopped. It's just became more balanced. Okay.
And
If you want us to break down your neighborhood, or you want us to, show you what's going on as a buyer, you need some advice or something like that. I mean, you can hit them codes. Let us know. We can talk you through the process. If you go on my channel, I have endless videos about how to buy, sell, mortgage, insurance. Like I got it all on there. You want to see brand new construction homes, you can get on there. If you want to, like I said, know what's going on with the CMA, I have it in my channel. So check all that stuff out. Also, quick, if you don't mind, Brandon, I just want to show everybody the new listing we got going on in the area. Is that cool with you?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
No,
cool.
you cannot.
Do that
Don't lie.
Just give me a second. Okay.
What kind of question is that?
I just hold on. Here we go. Bang. All right. So this is 9 Verde Bend. This is in Savannah, Georgia. Great location right off of 17. If you've been to the villages of Valambrosa, right, Brandon?
Yeah, isn't that Bradley Point?
Huh?
Is that Bradley Point?
Yeah, Bradley Point area. You got it's right down the road from the Walmart, right down the road from Love's, in between Richmond Hill and Savannah. Good location. If you're living on base, you can check this house out. 3 bedrooms, 2-bath home, under 250, right? But you look at it, you come inside, bang, look at that wide open space in there. I love it. Okay, kitchen. It's got the tile floor, granite countertops. The AC was just put in 2024. So I mean, the AC's brand newish. Roof is pretty new, so you definitely want to check this one out. Look at that master bedroom right there. Boom. Really big. And instead of the room adjacent to it is big too. But it's a great home. Like I said, in Savannah, come check it out. If any questions about this one, hey, give me a call, 912-657-3544. Brandon, if they want to talk to you, what's your number?
It's 912-656-5218. It's all
I
in the
don't,
codes.
huh?
It's all in the codes.
It's in the code. You don't even remember it. But Brandon's going to be hosting the Market Sip Monday night. I'll be going to Allison Krause. We'll be bringing in Megan Kozlowski, one of my favorite people of all time.
When you say nothing at all.
I'm excited. I missed her the last time she was here. So Lindsay got me tickets and we are going again. And we're actually seeing Sting on Saturday night. So if you see me at the Sting concert, say hi.
Say hi.
And I really appreciate you guys joining. You got anything else to say, Brandon?
No, hopefully it'll be a pretty day to go look at some homes. So let's go look at some homes.
All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions, hit the comments and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.